Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Low Point once again, and this is Anisha Babu. In the first session, we saw who all are the legal heirs of the deceased Muslim. In the second session, we saw the first category of legal heirs, also called as the primary sharers, and the property distribution among them. In today's session, we'll see the property distribution among the remaining legal heirs. We have a Supreme Court of India's advocate on record, Mrs. Praseena Elizabeth Joseph, to continue the rules of property inheritance among remaining legal heirs as per Muslim inheritance law. So let's watch.
In the previous session, we saw how shares are distributed among primary sharers. Today we will see how secondary sharers get the property if any of the primary sharers is not alive. A quick recap. These are primary sharers and these are secondary sharers.
Coming to secondary sharers, if the father of the deceased is not alive, then father's father will inherit 1/6 fixed share of the father. If mother of the deceased is not alive, then father's mother and mother's mother together will share equally between themselves what would have been inherited by the mother had she been alive. That is, 1/6 if the deceased has children, or 1/3 if the deceased does not have children, as the case may be. If son is not alive, then son's children will share among themselves what would have been inherited by the son of the deceased had he been alive. Here also, remember, son's son will get double the share of son's daughters, and if son's daughters are more than 2, then those daughters will get 2/3 share and son's son gets double the share of each daughter.
Please note that as we have seen in our previous session, if a father has 3 children and if one son passed away before the death of father, then on the father's demise, the deceased son's children will not inherit the property and the father's property will be shared only by the 2 sons who are alive. Because first son had already passed away much before the deceased father passed away. However, if there are 2 sons and both of them expire before the death of the father, then their children will inherit the father's property, as there are no other sons who are closer in relation for this father to give the property to. In such a case, his grandchildren will receive their father's share, who is the son of the deceased.
Coming back to distribution of shares between secondary sharers, if father, mother and children of the deceased Muslim are not alive, then uterine siblings, if any, will get 1/6 share of the father. If uterine siblings are not alive, then full blood siblings will get that 1/6 share. If full blood siblings are not alive, then that 1/6 share pass on to consanguine siblings.
Now, after sharers get their fixed share, if there is any property left over, which is also called as residue, then the same will go to the residuaries. To easily understand what is residue, we will take one example. If deceased left behind mother and daughter, mother gets 1/6 share and daughter gets half the share. To total the same, we need a common denominator. So, let's find out a common denominator using LCM. LCM in this case is 6. Now, let's convert the share of mother and daughter with denominator as 6. Now, mother gets 1/6 share and daughter gets 3/6 share. Total the same, the sharers are getting 4/6. Now, 2/6 is the residue in this case. This residue, that is 2/6, go to residuaries. Now let's see how this 2/6 or the residue is distributed between residuaries. Under residuaries, we have seen it's the male line of relatives wherein first preference goes to descendants of son of the deceased, that is, children of son of the deceased. That means the 2/6 share will first go to son's children. If son's children are alive, then the residue will be shared between themselves and nothing will pass on to next category. However, if son's children are not alive, then the residue will pass on to the next category, that is ascendants of deceased, that is father, father's father, etc. If no one is alive in that category, then the residue will pass on to next category, that is collaterals of deceased, which includes consanguine siblings as well as full blood siblings. If no one is alive in that category also, then residue will pass on to collaterals of father of the deceased, that is full blood siblings of the father of the deceased, consanguine siblings of the father of the deceased. If there are no one in that category also, then the residue share will return to the sharers. This principle is called the principle of Rath. Coming to our example, the 2/6 share, that was the residue that would go to residuaries, is now going to be shared equally between mother and daughter, who are the sharers. In this case, mother was getting earlier 1/6 share and now she gets 1/6 extra. That comes to 2/6 shares. Now daughter, who was getting half, that was 3/6 earlier, will now get 1/6 extra. Then her share becomes 4/6. Now let's total the share of mother and daughter. It's 2/6 plus 4/6 equal to perfect 1. If there are no sharers and no residuaries, then the property of the deceased will go to distant kindred. To recap, distant kindred means female relatives of the deceased.
In this case, the property of the deceased Muslim first pass on to his descendants, that is, daughters' children, sons' daughters' children, etc. If descendants are not alive, then the property pass on to the ascendants of deceased Muslim, that is, deceased mother's father, mother's mother, etc. If ascendants of deceased Muslim are not alive, then the property pass on to collaterals of deceased Muslim, that is, uterine brother, uterine sister, etc. If collaterals of deceased Muslim are not alive, then the property pass on to collaterals of mother of deceased Muslim, such as mother's full brother, mother's consanguine brother, etc.
If there are no sharers, no residuaries and no distant kindred, then the property goes to government. Under Shia law, as there are only two categories of sharers and residuaries, if there are no one alive under sharers and residuaries, then the property goes to government. Now we have covered property inheritance among Muslims. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.